Just doing a quick video prediction for tonight's fight against Jesse Hart and Joel Smith Jr. Gonna do a quick breakdown on the fighters, and then I'm gonna let you know how I think it's gonna go. If we do head-to-head matchup, you got Joel Smith Jr. and Jesse Hart. Now Jesse Hart coming into the fight, he's got 26 wins, 2 losses, and 21 KOs. So it's about 80% KO rate he's got in terms of his wins against these KOs. In terms of style wise, I say that Jesse Hart is a boxer slash pressure fighter, and he's also a sharpshooter. Now, Jesse Hart to me is somewhat at this stage in his career. He seems to be a contender. I would say he's an elite contender. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a world championship caliber fighter, because in his two world title fights against Zoro Ramirez, he just couldn't step it up and take it to the next level against world class, uh, not world class, but a world champion in Ramirez. So I'd say that Jesse Hart is a contender. Now, in terms of style wise, let's break that down a little bit. Um, I say Jesse Hart is a equal part mix of boxer and equal parts a pressure fighter. He can sharpshoot as well. He does that quite effectively. In terms of style wise, he's primarily a long range boxer. He likes to box on the back foot. Um, but as if one or two things I noticed with him when he's boxing, um, when he's boxing on the back foot, especially on the back when he's on the back foot, he likes to box out of range. Like he keeps himself quite well, he keeps himself just a bit outside of optimum range. So when he's boxing and moving and stuff, what I've noticed he does is he likes to step in really very heavy. He steps in very heavy, um, and he likes to commit very heavily to his shots. Uh, One thing I've noticed that when he does that, he plants his feet very heavily on the floor, and he sort of grounds himself completely as he's throwing a shot. So because he grounds himself so heavy, he's quite easy to catch on the counter, especially off a jab. He's very easy to hit off a jab. Um, and I think because he's a little bit too far out when he's moving around from in the ring against opponents. I think that he has to. It's sort of a mechanical flaw in his game. But he's very flat-footed, very heavy on his feet when he's punching, um, and he's open for the counter shot. He's open for the counter shot. And another thing with that is that because he's so heavy-footed, he's he's not very fluid in terms of transitioning from offense to defense. Um, he's either defending or he's either moving. Defense wise, he doesn't really slip and roll and dip out of the way of shots. He primarily uses his footwork to get out of range. He uses his movement to sort of evade shots. Um, he does it quite well when he's moving. Um, However, he does like to have a shootout on the inside. He likes fighting on the inside. He's very comfortable trading with opponents, and he does like to have a tear up. He's not someone he's going to shy away from a shootout with an opponent. He fights quite headstrong, and he seems to wear his heart in his sleeve a little bit when he's actually in there, and doesn't use his abilities, and he can get very aggressive in the ring when he's inside. When he does work on the inside, however, he doesn't really create angles very well. In fact, he doesn't really create angles at all. To be honest, he sort of buries his head in the opponent's chest, upper neck, like neck area, and he sort of tries to just wail away. He sits very close to his opponents, and one thing I noticed is that when he's on the inside, he doesn't create correct angles. He doesn't, shift and dip out and, you know turn his opponent slightly. He just sort of stands there and he wings his shots out rather than, dipping over to the side and, digging in with a nice body shot. And he doesn't maintain optimum range as well, and he really does smother his own work very badly. Being that he's 6'3", at super middle, who was a big guy, he's very tall, very gangly, quite top heavy, not really heavy legs. He's quite top heavy, so you know he doesn't work as effectively as he could have. If he was to start creating angles and shifting and moving out and setting up the body work on the inside. Um, so when he's fighting, he usually transitions from long to inside straight away. There's no real, you know, hanging around at the mid range and trying to box or punch out with guys at mid range. He is open for the counter at mid range. When I have seen him do that, in the sort of study that I've done on him, the film study, he is open for being caught on the counter. Um, and one thing I've noticed as well is when he hurts his opponents, he does lose composure and he loses poise. He absolutely goes wild. He starts really overcommitting to his punches. His defense gets very sloppy. Um, his attack gets very sloppy as well. There's nothing tidy about it. Everything's a bit wild and wide, and he's open to the counter punch again. So I think it's very dangerous for him to trade. Those are areas that should be corrected. In camp. You know, Not even in camp. Is when he's training in general. If he's not even preparing for a fight, he's way too wild, and he loses his composure completely. He doesn't keep a cool head and really start digging in and really picking and using good shot selection to really hurt his opponents to try and get him out of it. He just sort of goes wild and tries to wail away and bang on at them and try and get the stoppage like that. Um, Now, Jesse Hart does have a suspect chin. At 168, he was hurt. Um, I think twice he was dropped in the first Ramirez fight. The first fight he had with Zordo Ramirez. He was hurt quite badly. Well, not hurt badly, but he was definitely dropped. I know it was once. I think it was actually twice. I think it was one was early, and one happened like in the championship rounds, I think. And also when he fought against the opponent, he fought. Who's he fought? Sullivan Barrera. Yeah, I think it was Sullivan Barrera as well. I think it was about the 10th. Was it the 8th or 10th round? He got hurt quite badly and he got rocked. And I think Jesse Hart is very chinny, in my opinion. Um, he seems to, not be able to take a punch that well when he's got someone putting it on him. Um, and yeah, he is chinny, and I think that's going to play a factor into this fight. But I think his main problem as a fighter in general, his main issue as a fighter is the fact that he doesn't fight very intelligently. Well, what I mean by that is doesn't really use his physical attributes like his speed. I mean, when he's boxing on the back foot, he's got very good single shot speed. He can, whip out a shot quite quickly, especially compared to Joel Smith Jr. He's not very fast, but he doesn't fight very intelligently. He doesn't use his speed, doesn't use his physical attributes as well as he should. Things like range and you know he's for a guy of his size, he should not be trying to trade. Like Hart is way too comfortable trading, and he should not be trading with being 6'3". He's the taller man. He should be in there, boxing long, teeing off at range. If he's gonna try and trade, he should be teeing off at range, because then at least he's got that sort of range to safeguard him, and he can quickly dip out or step out if need be. But when he's close at range, he's got it makes it much more easier for his opponent to land. And I think he doesn't use his intelligence. No, he doesn't use real ring IQ to to make you know to make things easier for himself in the ring. Um, Now, coming into the ring is his opponent, Joe Smith Jr. Um, a full-fledged light heavyweight. 24 wins, 3 losses, one by KO. It was earlier in his career, however, and he has 20 knockouts. So that actually puts him a slightly higher KO percentage of 83%. In terms of boxing style, he's primarily a puncher and a slugger, but he's more of a puncher than a pure slugger, because he doesn't have that show-stopping power, that brutal one-punch KO power. I mean, he's a big, big, big hitter, which I'm going to speak on in a bit. But he's a big hitter, um, and he can pressure as well. So I'd say primarily he's a puncher um, and a slugger, but more puncher than a slugger, and he is a pressure fighter as well. In terms of skill level, I'd say Joe Smith, sorry, not Joyce. Joe Smith is a gatekeeper. Um, Being that the light heavyweight division right now, to me, is one of the deepest divisions in boxing. Um, it's There's a lot of talent at 175, and I think in the next 2 years it's going to be the hottest division. The Top Rank have got the whole 175 locked up. You've got prospects like Buatsi coming up. Anthony Yardy had a valiant affair with Kovalev. You've got Jesse Hart coming into the mix. Joe Smith Jr. He's a dangerous fighter. There's a lot of action going on at 175. A lot of guys, you know, in the mix, and there's a tremendous amount of fights to be made at 175. I think, to me personally, 175 is the hottest division in boxing right now by far. Like, in terms of the amount of top level matchups that we could potentially see. Um, Now Smith, he is a big puncher. He likes to box at range as well. He's primarily a long range fighter. He's not really an inside fighter. He's not a mid range fighter. He likes to box at range, and he's a very, very long, gangly kind of fighter. He's got a very big frame for a 175 guy. Even though Jesse Smith is slightly taller than him by, I think it's about an inch and a half or something. Um, Joel Smith Jr. is very big at light heavyweight, and he's very strong. He's very fucking strong, man. Like, he's a very physical guy, and he's very strong. Like, I don't think I've seen anyone manhandle him like in the ring. He's you're not gonna back him up or anything like that. He's a very strong fighter. Um, Now Smith, when he fights, he sort of fights at long range. He boxes very tall, and he stands very upright, which makes him very hittable. And once he does get hit, he's quite easily shaken. He sort of keeps his head up. He doesn't move his head that much. Um, and When he's hit, he's when he's throwing his shots, he's quite easy to counter because he stands so square up, and he don't move his head, so he's very easy to counter. And one thing I've noticed, when he hits, he shells up. Like, he doesn't. Joe Smith Jr. doesn't really like to trade or exchange shots. Once he gets hit with something, he seems to shell up, and he keeps a tight guard. But in terms of the guard, he actually earmuffs. He earmuffs quite a lot, and he's open. For the uppercut. I've seen him. When he fought. When I was watching him earlier today, I watched the Bill fight. and Bivol was landing clean with the uppercut at times, especially the uppercut was very prevalent in the Sullivan Barrera fight. Barrera was landing the uppercut very nicely and very cleanly as well. Now, Joel Smith Jr. does have a good chin, um, and he's got a good chin and he's got good stamina. But I'd say his stamina is good because he doesn't have a really good work rate. He doesn't really work when he's in the ring. Like he's got quite a low punch output. He likes to throw the single jab, a long looping left hook, straight right hand. He telegraphs quite a lot as well. His shots are somewhat telegraphy. His power shots, his left hook, his right hand. He does telegraph his shots, um, and he doesn't like body punches. I've noticed that when he fought, I think when he fought Bivol, Bivol was digging away a little at the body, and he was catching it quite nicely. And he doesn't seem to like body punches. Um, Now, when he's walking opponents down, and instead of like trying to stay at range, when he's walking opponents down, he does cut the ring off quite well. He done it quite well against Hopkins, but Hopkins wasn't really moving around a whole lot towards the middle part of the fight. Hopkins started slowing down, and he was still taking short steps, which um, which gave Smith the ability to sort of keep on him and keep on him, and he was tracking him very well in terms of movement. What I mean by tracking is a technique where you sort of stay close when you got an opponent in front of you throwing punches. You sort of come just out of range, but as soon as they stop punching, you close back in. So you're sort of tracking your opponents in the ring, and he does that quite well. Um, but Smith's biggest strength is his power. Smith is a big puncher, not a not a an outright monster puncher, but he's a solid puncher. You don't want to get hit clean with a punch by Smith. I mean, when I watched the Bivol fight, he absolutely buzzed Bivol quite badly, and Bivol was kind of lucky that it happened in the 10th round, I believe, right at the end, right on the bell. Um, Joel Smith sort of closed in and threw an overhand right. Bivol was either throwing, I think it was a jab, it was a left-handed shot. I think it was a jab or a left hook. But Joel Smith came over and he landed a peach of a right hand right on the sort of temple area of Bivol. And Bivol sort of froze up completely. And he was very lucky that, Joel Smith didn't have an extra minute or 2 minutes, or 2.5 minutes or something, because I think Joel Smith would have got Bivol out of there. He absolutely, he completely froze. He turned to stone. He had to hold on to the ropes and walk back to his corner. He recovered well. He came out the next round and he seemed okay, even though he wasn't really punching that much. Um, you know, but Joel Smith's power is dangerous, man. He's dangerous, very, very dangerous. He's a big puncher, man. Big puncher at 175, and that is what is sort of leading me in terms of my prediction. Um, on paper, I would say Jesse Hart is the better fighter. Um, he's got more attributes. He's got a bit more. He's got quite a lot more to his game. Not a lot actually. He's got more to his game. Um, because I mean he is a fairly limited fighter himself, but he's got more to his game than a Joe Smith. But I think the confidence that Jesse Smith has, and the fact that he wears his heart on his sleeve when he fights, I think that's gonna come back and bite him in this one. And I think the main problem tonight that Hart's gonna have is his 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 how do I say it? His willingness to trade, uh, and his willingness to trade against opponents. I think he's gonna. I think that will come back to bite him. One thing he does is once he's once he starts, getting the better of opponents in, starts winning rounds, he starts to get very confident, a little bit cocky in himself. Um, and to be honest, I mean, Hart, he's got very leaky defense, man. He's very open to be hit. He's not that hard to find if you're an opponent. And to me, Jesse Hart doesn't have a chin. He doesn't have the kind of chin that's going to stand up to Joel Smith. I'll tell you that. I'll say that with confidence as well. So I'm actually backing Joel Smith to KO Jesse Hart tonight. I think Joel Smith's gonna, land. He will land at some point, and I think Jesse Hart's gonna get stopped. I don't see Jesse Hart winning. I think Jesse Hart gets stopped against Joel Smith, and I think Joel Smith will, KO and get the win via KO. So I'm backing Joel Smith to get the KO win. I think he's gonna, he'll look bad for the first couple of rounds, but at some point that right hand or the left hook's gonna land on Jesse Hart, and Joel Smith is gonna close the show out. So my official prediction is Joel Smith to win by KO. I don't think Jesse Hart has the chin, and he has the ring intelligence to fight the correct fight. I think he's smart enough and capable enough to, but I think his heart gets the better of him in the ring, and I think he likes to trade, and I think the fact that he's gonna probably start trading with Joel Smith Jr. is gonna come back and bite him, and he's too open while he's trading. Even at range, he's very open. His elbow flares up, and when he starts committing to his shots, if he misses, he's open for the counter. And I think Joel Smith's going to get the better of him tonight. So the official prediction for Hypno is Joel Smith by KO. Yeah, so I'm putting my stamp on that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think I'm right? Do you think it's do you think Joel Smith can't get the KO? Do you think Jesse Hart's going to win? I mean, the smart man says Jesse Hart on paper, but I just don't think that. I think Jesse Hart is gonna, lose the fight. I think he's gonna lose. I don't think Johnson's gonna win. I think Jesse Hart is gonna cost himself the fight, and I think he's gonna get knocked out by Joel Smith. Um, if you like the video, stay tuned. There's going to be more videos coming up. Predictions is one thing I'm going to be doing a lot of on this channel, and I'm going to try and do very technical breakdowns. So keep your eyes peeled, subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notifications, and yeah, that's it really. Just posting up my thoughts on this one. Anyway, it's going to be a terrific fight. I think it's going to be an absolute barnstormer of a fight, and I look forward to watching this one tonight. All right, peace.